Alright, hey guys, the Ultimate Freezer here, and welcome back to part 2 of my answers to your questions. If you haven't checked out part 1 of this video yet, here is a link for that. So I had a really huge positive response to part 1 of my Q&A, and I've had a load of questions submitted to me by some really awesome YouTubers out there, and I will be answering every question that was submitted to me, as well as the ones that I never got a chance to answer in part 1 of this video. And as before, I will be mentioning the YouTuber's name as well as putting a link to their YouTube channel in the description below for the ones that wanted that. So without further ado, let's get these answers. Okay, so the first question I answered on part 1 of my Q&A was from Adam AFD, so it makes sense that the first question I answer on part 2 is from the very awesome Velcomia, and he's asked me, what is your rarest or most treasured Sonic item? Okay, so I own a few pieces of Sonic merchandise that might be classified as rare, such as the 20th anniversary Sonic statue, which is down there, as well as the Soap Shoe Sonic plush and a few others. But in terms of my most treasured Sonic piece, you might notice that I've got this out here beside me, and this is one of my original artwork collection from Sonic the Comic. And I'm not sure how well it's picking it up on the camera, but in person this looks absolutely incredible. Now, this is the original cover art for '97, and it's one of my favourites from my collection. So I'm not sure how you can classify an original artwork as rare or whatnot, because it's a one-of-a-kind item, so it's sort of a step above a rare item. But yeah, in terms of most treasured Sonic pieces, it's got to be my Sonic the Comic original artwork collection. Okay, so the next question comes from one of my favourite channels out there for anime memorabilia reviews, being Rock God Itachi, and he's actually asked me 3 questions. The first question he's asked me is, which do you find yourself collecting more now, anime or Sonic merchandise? Currently, right now, I'd actually say anime related, and the reason for that is because my Sonic collection is pretty much got to where it needs to be now. I've obviously got so much of it as it is. I only usually sort of collect the more rarer or unique pieces for it, or Sonic the Comic related, because obviously that's something I'm very much passionate about. So yeah, definitely more anime themed collecting now. The second question you've asked me is, what would you sell in your collection if you had to? That's a pretty interesting question. To be honest with you, I could probably, if I had no choice, live without most of this stuff really, and that's mostly because all of this is replaceable really, with the exception of the Sonic the Comic original artworks, because they're one of a kind and literally once they're gone you'll never see that same piece up for sale or available again. So yeah, pretty much anything that's replaceable really if I had no choice. And your third and final question is, if you could collect only one thing, either Sonic, TMNT or anime, which would you choose and why? So this is a pretty easy question for me to answer, and it's still always got to be Sonic related, mostly because it's the very first thing that I started with collecting, and it'll always be. So it was the start, and it will always be the main focus of my collecting. Okay, the next question comes from the very cool Gonzo Nyan, and he's asked me, since you obviously love Sonic games, which one did you think was the worst, or your least favourite of the series? So, I suppose when people think bad Sonic games, they're probably automatically going to go straight to Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. However, I never found that game was unplayable, and I did get somewhat enjoyment out of the game, so I'd never say that is my least favourite Sonic game of all time. In fact, there's a few Sonic games out there that were ridiculed by fans and reviewers alike that I actually enjoyed quite a lot of. Sonic Shuffle is actually one of my favourite party games to actually play, and it's a hell of a lot of fun on multiplayer, and that got terrible reviews. But if I had to choose my least favourite Sonic game of all time, I'd probably say Sonic Labyrinth on the Game Gear, because why would you make a Sonic game and have Sonic slow? Okay, the next question comes from Sonic and the Bean Show, and he's asked me 2 questions. First question he's asked me is, are you excited about the new Terminator movie coming out? So you're obviously referring to Terminator Genesis, which comes out in July. Now, I'm very much looking forward to this film coming out. In fact, it's my most anticipated film to go and see this summer. That's because I'm a very big fan of the Terminator franchise and a big follower of Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. In fact, I met Arnold a couple of years back when he was in London. Now I know a lot of people weren't very happy with what they saw on the trailer for Terminator Genesis, but I think it has the potential to be something good. From what it showed, it looks like it's going to be a lot better than Terminator Salvation, which is something I wasn't very much a big fan of that film. Terminator 1 is actually my favourite film of all time. So, am I excited for the film? Yes. The next question you've asked me is, what's your favourite TV show and why? So I don't actually really watch a lot of television, so if I was to choose a favourite TV show, I suppose I could say I've been watching quite a lot recently of the US version of Hell's Kitchen, because it's very much enjoyable to watch, and usually anything that's got Gordon Ramsay in it is usually quite hilarious to watch, especially when he's shouting at people. So yeah. Okay, the next question comes from Bowser Jr. Core Camera, and he's asked me 3 questions. First question he's asked me is, what's your favourite Sonic character? So I'm going to be pretty generic here and say my favourite character is actually Sonic the Hedgehog. But if I had to choose a favourite character that wasn't Sonic the Hedgehog, I would say Dr. Robotnik. The second question you've asked me is, what's your favourite Mario character? Okay, so I actually have 2 favourite Mario characters, and this may surprise people, but my 2 favourite characters are actually Toad and Waluigi. And your third question you've asked me is, what's your favourite video game? So I don't really have one ultimate favourite video game of all time. I do have 4 games that I would probably say are probably my 4 top games of all time. And they are Alex the Kid in Miracle World on the Master System, Sonic 3 and Knuckles on the Mega Drive, Resident Evil 1, the remake on the GameCube, and The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker on the GameCube as well. Okay, the next question comes from Zombie and Me, and this person has asked, if you could pick one Sonic collectible that you have to lose over the others, which would you pick? So this is going to be a pretty similar answer to the question I answered earlier, and that is that I could pretty much part with anything in here with the exception of the original artworks, because they're one of a kind and literally everything else is replaceable and I could always get again. Okay, the next question comes from Blue Blur 476, and this person's asked me a couple of questions. First question being, what's your favourite Zelda game? So, as I mentioned in Bowser Jr. Core Camera's answers, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker is one of my favourite games of all time. So it is of course my favourite Zelda game of all time also. And the next question you've asked me is, where do you get your Sonic merchandise from? So, pretty easy answer, and you'll probably already know it. Most of it comes from eBay. If I had to do it in the shops, you've obviously got Toys R Us or Smiths. Okay, the next question comes from Professor Conker, and he's actually asked me 4 questions. His first question is, have you ever played Evil Dead How to the King? Now I've seen this game and I remember looking at previews and some reviews of it for it when it was about to come out, but I've never actually played the game. I have seen some footage of it, but no, I've never played it. I do very much like the Evil Dead films though. Your second question you've asked me is, what's your favourite Dreamcast game? That's a very hard question, because putting the Sonic games aside on there, for me to choose a favourite game on there is very hard. If you was to ask me what my favourite Sega Saturn game was, I'd probably say Guardian Heroes. But for the Dreamcast, there's a lot of favourite games I've got on there, such as Power Stone 2, Resident Evil Code Veronica, The House of the Dead 2, and so forth. But yeah, I really can't choose a favourite for the Dreamcast there. Your third question you've asked me is, do you know anyone who owns the Omega or E102 Gamma plush? As far as I'm aware, I don't think there is a Omega plush. Pretty sure you mean Omega 123. But if there is a plush hat for him, I don't know about it. But the E102 Gamma plush is obviously known as sort of the holy grail for Sonic collectors. It's by far one of the most rarest Sonic pieces that are available out there, and I have not seen one available on eBay in at least over 10 years. And I think the last time it was on there, it went for at least $1,500, which is a lot of money for a plush, so who knows how much it would go for now if it appeared on an auction site. It's something I would definitely not go out and get, because I would not warrant paying that sort of money on a piece of merchandise, especially a soft toy. I know a few people that are after it, but I don't actually know anyone personally that owns it. And your fourth and final question is, do you own any of the original Sonic X keychains? Now I'm assuming you mean the bendy ones, not the actual metal keychains. I do actually own a few of the bendy ones, which I actually have them in here. Behind me I have the Sonic, I believe I have Tails and Knuckles somewhere. I think there is a Shadow one as well. I'm not sure if there's a Rouge one, but yeah, I do own Sonic, Tails and Knuckles. So yeah, I hope that's answered your questions. Okay, the next questions come from the very awesome Ghosty Shadow, who's asked me 2 questions. First question being, what type of music do you like? Okay, so I have 2 favourite genres of music, and that is pop and rock. My favourite music artist of all time is actually Michael Jackson. However, I don't mind listening to some of the Japanese stuff that's out there, such as Vocaloids and a few other bits. So yeah. The second question you've asked me is, are there any new games you're looking forward to at the moment? There's a few I'm looking forward to. There's not many. You've of course got the new Batman game coming out in June, which looks fantastic. And you've also got Devil May Cry 4 Remaster coming out. Now I'm obviously a big fan of Devil May Cry 4, so I'm very much looking forward to getting the remaster of it. And they've recently announced that you can actually play as Lady and Trish in this game as well as Virgil. So that's very exciting stuff. And I'm of course looking forward to the new Legend of Zelda game that's coming out on the Wii U later this year. I've just bought Resident Evil Revelations 2. I haven't actually played it yet, so that's my current game to play through. But other than the ones I've listed, I can't think of any others that come to mind. Okay, next up is Ben Pakkham, I think I pronounced that right, and he's asked me 3 questions. First question being, what do you think of the Archie comics? So I'm assuming you mean the Sonic Archie comics. So I'm not a huge follower of them, and I'm not really much of a big fan of them. The writing seems to be a little bit too much comical for my standard, but I don't dislike them or anything. And, I do get somewhat enjoyment out of flicking through them, and they always do usually contain really awesome artwork in them. But I don't actually collect them no more, but I do own a few of them. The second question you've asked me is, do you collect the Archie novels? So I've kind of just answered this question already. I do have a few of them, but no, I don't collect them. And your third and final question you've asked me is, what films are you into? A few film series I'm into. As I mentioned earlier, I'm obviously a big follower of the Terminator franchise. Big follower of the Batman films, more so the earlier ones, the Tim Burton films. Not too much of a big fan of the Christopher Nolan films, no, but the Batman '89 film is my favourite Batman film. But otherwise, other films I'm into, I do quite like the Matrix films, but of course, being a follower of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I pretty much will watch anything that he's in, such as classics like Total Recall, Running Man, what else have we got, the Expendables films, and so forth. So yeah, I hope that's answered your questions. Okay, the next questions come from Mike Penman's Game Room, and he's asked me 3 questions. First question he's asked me is, will you be attending MCM Expo in October? Okay, so this question got submitted to me quite a long time ago, and I do apologise for taking so long to get back to it. I did indeed attend MCM Expo in October, and I had an absolute blast there. It's probably actually my favourite MCM Expo I've ever been to, the one in October. I should be attending the MCM Expo in May though. The second question you've asked me is, any decent stores to check out in London? There's a few I'd recommend checking out. You've got Forbidden Planet, which is very close to Tottenham Court Station. Make sure you Google map any of these places before you go there, because they can be a little bit tricky to find. Forbidden Planet has absolutely loads of stuff in it, from video game related, there's like sci-fi stuff, and it's 2 floors. You've got a downstairs as well, which has got an absolute load of manga and anime stuff. Pretty much something for everyone in there. You've also got Tokyo Toys, which is situated in the Trocadero near Piccadilly Circus. The Trocadero used to be the old Sega World, for anyone curious, during the 90s. I'd recommend checking there out if you're after anything anime or manga related. And pretty close to Piccadilly Circus, or actually situated in it in fact, you've got Chinatown, where there's a shop in there that sells high-end anime memorabilia, such as figures in there, official stuff as well, I might want to state. So make sure you go check that one out. I'm not sure on the name of the place on that one though. It's sort of like a bit like a shop that doesn't have a name, and you go in there and you look in there, and then there's like cabinets like this that have got filled with all anime figurines and stuff. It's really cool. And your third question you've asked me is, what was the most difficult piece of your collection to get hold of, and how long did it take you? So there was a few pieces that I was after for quite a while and took me a long time before I got it. And I mentioned this on part 1 of my video, and that was probably the Sega World Sydney Dr. Robotnik Plus, which is just behind this artwork. I was after that for quite a few years, and I wanted to get one that was in good condition and that wasn't overly priced on eBay. And to my surprise, one of them eventually did come available to me, and I got it for a good price. So I'd say that's probably the piece that took me the longest to get a hold of. Okay, next up is Sega Superstar, who's actually asked me 3 questions. His first question he's asked me is, what is your current #1 anime? Okay, so my #1 anime of all time is always going to be Dragon Ball Z. I can't ever see me ever having an all-time favourite above that one. However, as you've put current here, I'm very much enjoying watching High School DxD. Your second question you've put here is, what would you like to see in the next Sonic game? Okay, pretty interesting question. For me to see a Sonic game I'd like to see it mostly centred around Sonic the Hedgehog and being sort of solely the only character that you're playing as. I think part of the problem that I read and heard about the Sonic Boom game that came out on the Wii U is that it was sort of very much littered with other Sonic characters. And I don't really think that works, not for me. I'd like it to be solely Sonic as the character going through the game. It can be an adventure type game, I don't mind that. Also, I don't mind it being a 3D type game. I know a lot of the fans out there are saying that it has to be a 2D game for it to be an enjoyable Sonic game. But I could be happy with either a 2D or 3D game. I just really want it to be centred around Sonic solely going on adventure and battling against Dr. Robotnik. I'd probably rather see a more serious return of Dr. Robotnik. I'm not much of a fan of the more comical approach that they've got him now as in the games. He's sort of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 sort of character I was very much more of a fan of. Much more sort of serious and somewhat darker tone. And your third and final question is, what is your most treasured piece of merchandise you own? Okay, pretty easy answer, and you're probably already going to know the question for anyone watching it, and that's got to be the artworks again. Obviously, I don't want to repeat myself, but one of a kind and treasured pieces. So yeah, hope that's answered your questions. Okay, next up is Inspirization. Not sure if I pronounced that right. And this person's asked me 4 questions. First question is, if you could choose one superpower, what would it be? So I imagine a lot of people would probably either choose something like flight or super strength. But I would think super intelligent would be quite an interesting ability to have. Because what's the use of having all that power if you don't know how to use it? Your second question you've asked me is, who would you want with you if you were stranded on a desert island, and why? Can be fictional, but only one. Goku, because why not? Your third question is, what does your perfect day look like? I'm actually quite a fan of the rain, especially being indoors with it. I find it very relaxing mood to be hearing the rain outside, especially when it's hitting the windows. I find that very relaxing. But of course, I very much like a sunny, clear, clean day. I'm not a big fan of hot weather. I like it to be sort of mild, so spring and autumn are sort of my preferred times of the year. And your final question is, the best part of waking up is... this is probably the most random and weird question I've got on this list. Don't really know what to say at that one, because I'm not much of a morning person, so the best part of waking up is to get up and enjoy the day. Can't really think of what else to say to that one. Okay, and the final YouTuber who supplied me their question is Cheryl Blossom, who's asked me 3 questions. First question being, what are your top 3 anime you're looking forward to? So you've got Digimon returning pretty soon, which I'm very much looking forward to, mostly because they've got the returning characters from Season 1 coming back, and Season 1 is by far my favourite season of Digimon. You've of course got Season 3 of High School DxD coming out soon, which is another one I'm very much looking forward to watching. And the third would be, of course, Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F, because that film looks absolutely incredible, and the fact that you've got Frieza returning is, of course, got me very excited. Your second question is, how long have you been collecting Sonic merchandise? Probably on and off for about 18 years, I'd say, around that time. And your third and final question is, last one, in your opinion, who's the best waifu? Why? ROFL. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting question. Who's the best waifu? Asia Argento, because why not? Okay, and that is all questions answered that were submitted to me. Thank you very much, guys, for taking the time to submit me those questions, and I hope you found my answers to be somewhat interesting, and I very much hope you enjoyed this video all the way through. As always, I really do appreciate you guys subscribing to my channel in the first place and liking my content. It's because of you that I have reached 1,000 subscribers and 150,000 video views. Stay tuned for the future, because I will have another special video themed planned for my next milestone, which will be 1,500 subscribers. It's going to be a sort of special giveaway that you're not going to want to miss, because it's something you'll never see anywhere else. But as always, guys, thanks again for watching this video and subscribing. Take care of yourself, and see you guys on the next video.